according to a Royal Canadian Mounted Police investigation, released in the year following the original claim. The story of an entire Inuit village vanishing at Lake Anjikuni does not hold up under scrutiny. The account traces back to a trapper named Joe Labelle and a settlement in the far north of Canada, part of a string of waterways the local Inuit used to sustain themselves. It was a freezing winter night when a lone hunter named Joe Labelle walked into a quiet village near Lake Anjikuni. What he claimed to find would haunt him for the rest of his life. Cooking fires still smoldered. Meals sat untouched. Yet every single person, dozens of Inuit men, women, and children, had simply vanished into the endless Arctic dark. No one knows why they left. No one knows where they went. Lake Anjikuni sits in the far north of Canada, in what is now the territory of Nunavut. For half the year it lies buried under snow and ice, one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. The lake forms part of a chain of waterways the Inuit relied on for fishing and survival. Life here demanded constant movement, following the caribou and the seasons. To simply stay put through a brutal winter was itself a gamble against starvation. In November of 1930, the fur trapper Joe Labelle was crossing the region and knew of a small Inuit village on the lakeshore. He had visited before and expected a warm welcome. Instead, as he approached, he heard nothing. No dogs barked. No children called out. No smoke rose from the dwellings. According to the story, he counted somewhere between 25 and 30 people who should have been living there. Every one of them was gone. What Labelle described next became the heart of the legend. Inside the dwellings, he claimed, food still hung over dead fires, some of it half-cooked. Sealskin garments lay abandoned. Rifles, the most precious possessions any Arctic hunter owned, were left leaning against the walls. No Inuit would ever abandon a working rifle in that climate. It was the difference between life and death. Yet everything of value had been left exactly where it lay. As Labelle explored further, the story grows darker. At the edge of the settlement, he claimed to find the Sled dogs, the lifeline of any Inuit family, dead. They had reportedly starved, still tethered beneath a mound of snow. For a people who could not survive without their dogs, this made no sense. If the villagers had fled, they would have taken them. If they had died, someone should remain. And then came the detail that turned rumor into legend. The most chilling claim of all involved the dead. Labelle reportedly found a grave at the edge of the settlement that had been opened. The stones covering it were neatly stacked to one side, and the body was gone. No animal removes stones and leaves them in tidy piles. This was the detail that separated Anjikuni from any ordinary tragedy. It suggested something deliberate, something that took not only the living but reached down for the dead as well. Labelle reportedly rushed to the nearest telegraph office and alerted the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The tale traveled fast. In 1930, a journalist named Emmett Kelleher published the account in newspapers, complete with dramatic embellishments. Reports even spoke of strange glowing lights seen in the sky above the lake around the time of the disappearance. The story of the vanished village spread across the continent, growing stranger with every retelling, until it became one of the great unsolved mysteries of the North. But the Royal Canadian Mounted Police told a very different story. When they investigated, they concluded the account was almost certainly a hoax or wild exaggeration. There was no record of a permanent village of that size at Anjikuni. Photographs Kelleher used had come from an unrelated location. The Mounties found no abandoned rifles, no open graves, no starved dogs. Officers who knew the region pointed out that Inuit families frequently moved with the caribou, leaving camps empty as a matter of survival. And here lies the truly disturbing part. The Anjikuni legend endures not because a village vanished, but because we needed it to. The invented mystery masks a real and darker history, the genuine hardship, starvation, and forced upheaval that Arctic Inuit communities suffered as outsiders reshaped their world. Real villages did empty slowly, through disease, hunger, and displacement, without any glowing lights. The frozen silence of the North hides no supernatural crime. It hides something far more human and far harder to face. The village of Anjikuni may never have vanished at all, but the legend we built around it tells us something true. We would rather imagine a supernatural mystery than confront the real suffering that swept through the Arctic. The dead we invent are easier than the dead we forget. So the frozen silence keeps its story, half legend, half warning. If this look into history's darker corners moved you, subscribe and stay with us as we uncover the truths hidden beneath